Successful big league baseball teams need payroll, rigorous player evaluation using statistics, and crucially, the eyes and instincts of scouts, experts at spotting unseen characteristics no machine can measure. There is a memorable scene in Moneyball where head scout Grady clashes with general manager Billy Beane about how best to assemble a baseball team. Grady says,
"You don't put a team together with a computer, Billy."
No?
No. Baseball isn't just numbers. It's not science. If it was, then anybody could do what we're doing, but they can't because they don't know what we know. They don't have our experience and they don't have our intuition.
the scene illustrated what was happening across baseball in the first decade of the 21st century. People with training in statistical analysis and mathematical models became decision makers. Data-driven analysis seemed to displace traditional, more subjective forms of player evaluation embodied by a room full of aging scouts unimpressed by the new science. By 2015, advanced cameras installed in every Major League ballpark began to measure the performance of players with a previously unthinkable degree of precision. But if every team has access to the same data, it flips the script. Now the scouts from Moneyball don't look so old-fashioned if they can successfully identify grit, drive, resilience, and other intangible traits in young players. As Mike Scioscia put it,
they haven't found a formula to measure heart. They haven't found a formula to measure character. They haven't found a formula to measure leadership.
Let's talk about why scouts and their subjective judgments matter more than ever. In 2007, Major League Baseball rolled out the Pitch FX system, which used cameras in every ballpark to measure the trajectory, spin, break, and location of pitched balls. The technology was revelatory. Among other things, it showed which catchers were the best at pitch framing. Jose Molina and Russell Martin weren't just good, they were exceptional. And it also showed which umpires were the most influenced by a noisy home crowd in calling a questionable third strike. Then in 2015, things moved to a whole new level with the installation of advanced cameras designed to capture every single movement on the playing field. The efficiency of a fielder's route to a batted ball, the velocity of a fielder's throw, the exact speed of base runners, everything. Teams now pay attention to the exit velocity and launch angle of batted balls. Sports agents negotiate contracts based on these scientific findings. Big data has had a massive impact, affecting tactics and strategy. But Statcast says nothing about intangibles such as performance under pressure, adversity, or resilience in the face of setbacks. It can't measure those characteristics. How do certain players impact teammates due to their work ethic or leadership in the clubhouse? Again, such contributions cannot be quantified. In an age of analytics, it's the scouts who are tackling questions the machines cannot answer about drive, work ethic, and emotional makeup. Let's talk a bit about what the very best scouts do. Legendary scout Mel Didier speaks of the seen and unseen in player evaluation.
Well, most scouts look for two major parts. The seen things are the physical parts. You have to have some of those. But the part that's the toughest for a scout is the unseen. That's the part that you don't know about. That's the heart. That's the desire. That's the work ethics.
Didier's point is that no prospect is fully formed at the outset, and some scouts are better than others at identifying these unseen attributes like toughness and drive. Kevin Currain's $sign on the Muscle, a book that has gone through 3 editions, traces the history of scouting from the 19th century to our time's highly organized marketplace with its annual amateur drafts. But it's still a mix of gut feel and technical assessment when attempting to predict future stars or accurately assign signing bonuses. What's striking to me is that as baseball has become more data-driven, the scouts' intuition and subjective judgments remain irreplaceable, and thus potentially more valuable than ever. Tony Lucadello, the scout who drafted Mike Schmidt in 1971, wanted to know everything. Who was Schmidt's father, his girlfriend, his priest? He wanted any bit of information that might reveal something about who this young man would become. It was Lucadello who convinced the Phillies to sign Mike Schmidt based on a key insight. The prospect had fierce drive to succeed and improve his hitting and fielding ability. In other words, Schmidt had outstanding psychological makeup. Here's Mel Didier talking about another Hall of Fame third baseman.
I'd like to give you one example. Wade Boggs was not a good defender. He was a good hitter when he joined the Boston Red Sox. Wade Boggs took 100 to 200 ground balls every day during the season. And by his third year, he was voted the outstanding third baseman in the game. He made himself into a good defender. And that's what the work ethics is, and that's what we're talking about.
Scouts also write letters, make phone calls, and check in with players. They maintain human relationships over time, something computers can't do. The scouting report for the legendary Bo Jackson is fascinating because Bo was identified in high school as an athlete with exceptional ability and good emotional makeup. The question wasn't whether he had potential, it was judging whether he would accept a contract to play ball out of high school or go to college. Well, the Yankees drafted Bo out of high school in 1982, but he didn't sign because their front office didn't understand Bo's family. In contrast, Kenny Gonzalez of the Kansas City Royals did. He had developed a relationship with Bo's mom, a woman named Florence, who wanted her son to attend college. And during Bo's college years, Kenny stayed in touch with Florence, even though her son seemed destined for the NFL. Eventually, he asked Florence if her shy son wanted to try baseball. Would he sign a contract if offered one? After all, the Royals did not want to waste their top draft pick in 1986. Well, Bo did sign. Art Stewart, the Royals' director of scouting, said of Kenny Gonzalez, and it all came down to one thing: the patience and skill of a great scout. So scouts do more than travel and evaluate bodies. They maintain relationships and stay curious about players' health and off-season behavior. It's not unlike the scene in Moneyball when scouts express their concern over Jeremy Giambi.
He certainly has had his problems off the field, and we know what he can't do on the field. And,
Get a little thicker on the waist.
you know, and his reports about him on the weed.
Front offices need inside information to make informed decisions and develop strategies. Take advanced scouting. Major league teams send advanced scouts to evaluate upcoming opponents. They watch bullpen sessions. They watch batting practice. What's the manager saying? And what are the local journalists who have their pulse on things saying? Advanced scouts write up reports on the entire team: who's hot, who's not, who's injured, anything that might prove to be an advantage in future contests. But wait, can't scouts just watch the opposing team on a screen and check stat sheets? Sure they can, but traditional methods still have a place. In fact, I reckon their value is on the rise. In the 2024 World Series between New York and Los Angeles, advanced scouts working for the Dodgers insisted that while the Yankees had a talented team, they could be error-prone and self-inflict harm. As a result, those scouts recommended running the bases with purpose and aggression to exploit that fundamental weakness, which the Dodgers did. In the future, it's hard to imagine that one team will acquire a massive competitive advantage by focusing on statistically undervalued ball players. If Statcast has made the same numbers available to everyone, then the science of baseball takes a bit of a backseat to the art of baseball, and things like assessing personalities and gathering on-the-ground insight. In the age of analytics, scouts matter more than ever. Hey, thanks for watching this one. These are the sources I consulted. In the comments, let me know if you think the quality of scouting might become the new comparative advantage of Major League teams. I know some franchises are cutting down on the number of scouts in favor of pure analytics, and of course some franchises like the Dodgers just have more money for everything. But let me know where you think the art and science of baseball is headed.